Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Katrina Reese with Katrina Reese LLC. So glad that you decided to join us this afternoon. Oh my goodness. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. I am so excited that as a part of Let's Talk Kingdom with Katrina and Katrina Reese LLC, we are coming on today to give you another great session of coaching through COVID. Let me tell you something. This has been one of those times in our, I would say in my lifetime, that I have never experienced anything like this before. So just the opportunity to experience some of the things that we've been experiencing through this pandemic has been life changing. So I don't know about you, but some of the things that, and I'm going to cut this off really quickly, but some of the things that I've experienced through just reevaluating and rebranding my coaching style has been, of course, understanding that, we have to push forward regardless of, as coaches, regardless of what our business is and how we are to be a change maker in this pandemic. And so, with that being said, um, some of the things that I believe that we need to understand is most definitely we cannot be afraid of what um, this pandemic is doing to our the society and the coaches practice definitely the coaches and how we handle our business and what we do. So we definitely need to be on the forefront of making sure that first of all we do what we need to do in order to make a difference, in not only the coaching society but in order to continue to thrive and and for our livelihood, definitely for our livelihood. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and press forward. Got a couple of people that are trying to get in, so I'm going to send out some passwords just in case if you're trying to get into the Zoom meeting. But one of the things that has been, a change for me as far as how I have been doing and changing my approach to my coaching business has been, again, the fear of, meeting people face to face and continuing to, not be afraid of, meeting our clients and meeting their needs. And like I talked on last week, we were talking about um, the different platforms that are out there. Of course, we know we have StreamYard. We have so many different platforms that are out there that for those people that who don't want, those coaches that don't want to meet face to face or in person, we have those platforms out there for them that they can do the virtual like I'm doing right now. So like I said, we got StreamYard, we've got Zoom, we've got free conference call. Now we've got this new thing called Clubhouse. So we've got so many different platforms in order for you to meet the needs of your clients through these platforms if you don't want to be face to face. So that in part, I would say, combats that fear that you don't want to catch COVID. Again, I gave as an example of myself last week, being a wedding officiant and being not only a coach, but also being a wedding coordinator and a director. Um, you have to be in front of people regardless. They've streamlined, the COVID guidelines for weddings, where you can't have a lot of people and you can't do this and you can't do that. But the thing is, I cannot continue to be fearful, I have to, first of all, trust God, that he's going to protect me. And then I have to protect myself. So I mask up, I make sure that I have my hand sanitizer, and I make sure that my client also knows that the guidelines that they have to follow in their venue, and with their other, invitees to their weddings. So everything has to be in compliance, because I'm not going to put myself in danger. I'm not going to put, my family in danger. So I make sure that I do what I need to do as far as a wedding officiant and as a director and as a planner, to make sure that I'm protected. So that takes away the fear from me. And also I pray to make sure that God, that I'm covered. And that also talks about focus. So let me read the definition. Most definitely, I wanted to kind of talk to you about what the definition of fear is. So fear is an unpleasant feeling triggered by the perception of danger, real or imagined. Now, let me say this, COVID-19 is very real, very real. I have known family that has had it and had one family member that has passed from it. I have had friends that have had it. I have had colleagues that have had it. I've known people that, that I don't even know personally, but know just through, different people that have had it. And some of them have passed away and some of them have, recovered. So again, fear is real. The fear of COVID during this time of the coaching season is real. Again, fear is an unpleasant feeling triggered by the perception of danger, real or imagined. And again, there is every reason to be in a place of, I don't want to get in front of my clients because I'm fearful that I may catch, COVID. That is real, and that is your, responsibility to you, and again, to your family, to make sure that you are covered. So with that being said, let's turn around and look at the definition of focus. So the definition of focus, and I'm going to tell you just like this. During this time, you've got to be focused. You've got to really set aside some time where, you're saying, I've got to relook at how I'm doing my business. I've got to really relook at how I reach out to, my current clientele and to new clientele. So let me tell you what the definition of focus is. Focus is a center of activity, attraction, or attention. It's a point of concentration, directed attention. It's a state or a condition permitting clear perception. Now, let me say that again, clear perception, because again, it's hard. It's hard to be focused when you're hearing so many different things coming in about the pandemic, but it's a clear perception of understanding. It's adjustment of how you see things, how you look at your vision plan, or how you look at your mission plan. So to be focused, you really have to understand, I've got to start reining in some of this fear. I've got to start reining in some of these thoughts of how am I going to have a successful business during the pandemic. So again, reading fear and reading the definition of fear and reading the definition of what focus means. That's why I wanted to do this session today, fear versus focus. Because again, fear will come in during this time, but again, you can focus and you can rebrand and you can relaunch what you need to do in order to be successful. And again, so let me talk about some of the things that fear can do to you when you really don't know how to bring that fear in, or rein it in. Let me read one of my favorite scriptures. It talks about God has not given us a spirit of fear. So that comes from 2 Timothy 1:7. And I want to read it out of the New King James Version. And it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And when you think about how you have to learn how to rein in fear, you have to really think about, is this sabotaging me? Is this fear that has come upon me, whether it's in my heart, whether it's in my mind, is it controlling me? Is it not allowing me to step forth into, operating in the trust that I have in the Lord? Some people may be believers and some people may not. But the thing is, you got to learn, whether you're a believer or not, that the fear that comes upon you, it can be real. But you have to remember that as a believer, God has not given us a spirit of fear. You have to bring that thought into submission. So, yeah, I may catch COVID if I meet my clients face to face. Well, turn that around. Turn that fear around and say, you know what? Let me do what I need to do in order to make sure that I don't catch COVID when I meet with my clients face to face. Like I said earlier, some of the things that you have to do is make sure you protect yourself and make sure your client knows, if I'm meeting with you, we're going to be masked up. If I'm meeting with you, we're going to be 6 feet apart. If I'm going to meet with you, we're going to be in a place that, is compliant as following the COVID guidelines. A lot of times I meet with my clients at Panera. A lot of times, I meet with them in their homes. A lot of times I do meet with them in a place that I know is going to be safe and going to, and it's not going to put me at risk and it's not going to put them at risk. And starting in the next couple of months, I'm going to have my own location where I'm going to be meeting with clients outside of their home, outside of my home office, and meeting in a place where it's going to be COVID compliant. And I'm going to make sure that I put every safety precaution in place that will protect me and protect my client. So again, for those that really feel like, you know what, I don't want to put myself or my client in that type of danger, because COVID is a real thing and you have that fear. Like I said earlier, there are various platforms just like we're doing now, and I do these as well. I meet with some of my clients that I do premarital coaching with. I meet them via Zoom. We do this as well in their home, in my home office, and we talk, and it's just like we're face to face. So again, don't let the fear of COVID keep you from moving forward with doing the various things and putting the precautions in place in your business, where you're not only still continuing to meet the need of your client, but meeting the need of you, continuing to thrive in your business. Some people don't charge. Some people do charge. That is another fear. Well, Miss Katrina, you know, now that I'm not meeting face to face with them, how do I charge them? That's another fear. People say, well, um, I'm at home, they're not having to do any traveling. They're not, having to waste gas. We're not having to, find a place, locations that we got to pay for. So there's another fear. That's another fear. Not only the fear of putting yourself at danger for yourself and your client for COVID, but also the fear of revenue. Those are real things. Fear of, am I going to lose money? How do I make this work? Do I charge if I'm doing virtual? And by all means, let me tell you something, you can charge doing virtual. You really can. Now, you may not charge what you were charging if they were coming to you, I would say, one-on-one or even in a group setting in person, but the necessity of the information that you are giving them is still relevant. It's still important. You are still using your time, your resources, and your energy in order to make sure that you're coaching them or you're meeting their needs, whatever it is that you're doing. Again, whether you are helping them, with their business, or whether, you're doing, helping them with their, time management, whatever the specific service that you are giving your client, it is the same. And whatever you decide to charge, you talk to your client about that and you say, hey, normally I charge this, but because, we're virtual, this is what I'm going to charge you. And you discuss that and see if that's a good fit for you and your client. So there is the fear of, you know, can I charge, during this time? What will I charge? Well, to focus on that, versus the fear, to focus on that again is meet with your client, meet with other people that other clients, or not other clients, let's meet, say, other coaches that are in the same predicament that you are, and ask them, say, get their feedback. Say, what are you doing during this time? What are you charging? Are you charging? Are you doing discounts? Are you doing pro bono? Whatever it is that you have decided to do, you talk to other people in the industry and, find out, what they're doing. And so that helps out a lot. So again, that is how you focus on making sure that, if I do continue to charge, what will I charge? You focus on that, research it, Google, because again, there are people out there that are really still making a living coaching during COVID-19. So again, so first of all, we talked about your fear of, I can't do the online thing. This just isn't working for me. Well, if you can't do the online thing and you decide you still want to do the in-person thing, then with that fear of catching COVID, then you put the guidelines, you put the guidelines in place where you're safe and your client is safe. Again, the second one is, like I said, the fear of what should I charge? Because again, I'm not meeting with them one-on-one. So what do I charge them? How do I continue to make a living doing this, during this time with the stipulations and the guidelines? Because our state, North Carolina, we have a curfew. And then again, because of weddings, most of the time, uh, most of the venues are only allowing so many people. So again, you have to look at that, all of that, taking all of that when you're focusing on what you're going to charge and how you're going to charge. Do you use PayPal? Do you use the Cube? Do you use Cash App? There are so many, Venmo. There's so many platforms out there to get paid, where you're not getting cash, So nowadays, people are using these other platforms for payment. So think about that. When you focus on how am I going to get paid, focus on those different platforms in order to say, how am I going to get my money? And then how often am I going to get my money? That's another thing. So when you're fearful about what you're going to charge, then you need to really think about how often am I going to charge my client? Am I going to charge them per session? Am I going to charge them just one flat fee? Am I going to charge them a deposit? I will use myself. I can only do me as an example, but what I do is in my wedding business, what I do is I charge, I have several packages. So whatever my client needs, then I tell them what the package is, and then I let them know. I work by contract. That's another thing. And I also require a deposit. And so some people say, well, what's the need of doing a deposit? Well, a lot of times, and this is what I learned from most of my business coaches, since I've been doing this business full time, for, at least 3 years and maybe a little bit more. The thing about a deposit is you want to make sure that your client is serious about using your services. Let me say that again. You want to make sure that your client is serious about using your services. If they're serious about using your services, they don't have a problem with a deposit. Because again, once they've made the investment, of the deposit, then you can go ahead and start putting what you need to put together in order to help them. What I'll use an example as a life coach. People ask me, I do charge, and with my life coaching business, I don't do a deposit. I actually charge a flat rate, an hourly rate, and then from that point, what they do is they we set up how they want to do that. If they want to pay the whole thing up front for the first, for the hourly, we do that. Or if we know we're going to do maybe in that they want 4 sessions. And if they want 4 sessions, then they already know. So the sessions are going to be an hour. We already know what I charge for an hour. So if you want to go ahead and pay half of that now, and then half of that at the end of those 4 sessions, that's great. Or some coaches are also doing 6 month sessions, which to me is phenomenal because you can, depending on what your client's needs are, you can do things in 4 sessions based on the time that you're giving them, or over a span of time, depending on what their needs are and what you're doing for them, you may need 6 months to really help them from point A to point D or point C, or wherever A, B, C, D, however you've got your program set up, then that's how you would set up your charge. So let me give you an example. Last August, because I am also a time management coach, I did a time management one-on-one, time management group class. We did it via Zoom, and we set up a group in Facebook where it was only for those people that paid for that particular class. So, but it was through a 6 month span of time. It was from August, September, October, November. No, it was 4 months. It was 4 months. My bad. It was 4 months. So, and what they did was there were stipulations connected with being in class. What happens if you miss class? How many classes can you miss? And then once you've missed so many classes, then you're considered to be out. Then at the end of the class, then you knew that there was going to be a final test, and then you'd get a certificate for completion. But how did I charge them? So there was a specific way that in order for them to take the class, they had to purchase the book that the test, I mean, that the curriculum was coming out of, which was my time management journal. And of course, there was more that was added to that particular class that wasn't in the journal. So I over delivered with them. So all they had to do was pay for their book, and the book automatically enrolled them into the class, and it enrolled them into all of the information that they needed in order to be able to break bad habits, in order to recognize when you are procrastinating, begin to really hone in on focusing what you wanted to accomplish, what goals. They set SMART goals. So there were different things that were included in that class. So that determined what the charge was. So as a coach, you need to really hone in on knowing how much information am I giving, my client, whether it's a one-on-one or whether it's a group, then those things will determine how much you charge. So that's how you focus on the fear of, how much do I charge during this pandemic if I'm doing it virtually, or if I'm even still doing it one-on-one. So you as a coach have to determine what's the best charge, and talk with your other colleagues that are also in the same field that you are, and kind of get an idea of what they're charging, or if they're even charging. So that's the second one. So another fear of coaching during COVID to me has been not being able to have enough content. You know, that's a biggie. because first of all, you're going to, you fear that you may catch COVID if you're meeting with your clients one-on-one. That's number one. Number two is a fear of, what am I going to charge? Well, the other three, the third thing to me is I think coaching during COVID that you have to understand as a coach is what type of content do you need to have for marketing your business in order to get new clients in, to see what you're doing. And again, we talked about this last week, but we didn't go in depth. So I kind of want to go in depth with you. The fear of content, of what you need to have in order to market, to get yourself seen by people that don't know you, never heard of you. And let me tell you something, it can be very expensive to market yourself or to get out there and reach, people that don't know you. A lot of times word of mouth was the best advertisement that you could have. If you did a good job for somebody and you knew somebody that uh, knew somebody else, and they said, hey, and I've gotten a lot of clients that way where I've done some really good work, not only as a life coach or as a time management coach, or just as a speaker. Somebody heard me speaking or teaching at an event or whatever, and so later on they reached out to me and they say, hey, I heard you, or I saw you, and I want you to, I want to, I want to use your services. I want you to teach me, I want you to show me, I want you to, this, that, and the other. So again, word of mouth used to be a great way, for people to know about you. But now with this new internet age, you can literally go all over the world. People can find you, from Australia, from, the UK. Oh my God, I get so many people wanting me to come and speak and to want to, to come and do all these kind of things, in all these various countries. Ukraine, I've gotten hit from Ukraine. I've gotten people that have reached out to me from the continent of Africa. So again, you as a coach, now with this new online virtual age, people can, you can coach, from anywhere and everywhere, just where I am, just like I feel like I'm kind of coaching you, right now, letting you, hear the things that are going to help you be successful. So I'm coaching you. Is this free? Oh, by all means, it's free. But if you want in-depth coaching, in-depth one-on-one training, then those are the things that you have to do as that you have to get someone that's on the same level as you or higher and is going to help you move forward in that. So you can reach people from all over the world. The way the internet is really booming. Of course, you have to be very careful, but the thing about, marketing yourself and getting out there and being seen, a lot of people say, well, you know, people are doing Facebook Live, and I don't really like to get in front of the camera. And that, that goes back to number one, talking about, whether you want to do virtual or in person type things. But people say, well, I don't, there's Facebook Live and there's, now Instagram, has a live feed that you can, get out there. And then, you have YouTube. That's another platform that people are using. There's LinkedIn, there's again now Clubhouse. So there are so many platforms that you can advertise or you can reach out to get more people to know about you, to get exposure. Some of these are free. A lot of people say, well, what about those Facebook ads? And, I've done ads a couple of times and I've gotten some great feedback. Um, I would say most of the time when I've used those type of social media ads, I've gotten hits, but I can say maybe I got maybe one wedding, you know, or one coaching job out of that. When there are millions of people that are on Facebook, social media, Facebook, Um, so a lot of people say, well, should I set up a website? Should I, you know, Should I have a Facebook page? Should I have a business Facebook page, separate from my personal page? I would say yes. Should I do Instagram? Should I do Pinterest? LinkedIn. So there again are so many different platforms that you can put yourself out on to let people know about you and who you are and what you have to offer. So look at those things. Look at the free things first. I always tell people, look at the free first. And then once you begin to, people begin to notice you and to begin to inquire and the type of content that you're putting out there and what they see that you can offer, then kind of don't be fearful about that anymore. Start really homing in. Well, should I really just only focus on Facebook? Or should I really only focus on this platform? Or should I focus only on that platform? And then once you focused on that particular platform, then that is what you go with. A lot of people say they love Instagram, and I like Instagram and I like Facebook. But now what I have kind of graduated to is LinkedIn. LinkedIn now is meeting the need of, us in the, I would say, not only just the coaching business, but if you have a business, I would highly recommend that you go on LinkedIn and begin to set up your LinkedIn profile and let people really see what you have to offer. So I would say just don't be fearful of the content that you put out there for marketing. Focus on really what niche you want to be effective in. And people, as coaches, we hear that all the time. What's your niche? What do you need to really focus on? And for me, that was really hard because I felt like at the beginning as a coach that I really was an overall coach. I was, doing, everything. I was doing time management. I was doing, you know, um, empowerment. I was doing, um, uh, mindset changing. I was helping men and women, birth, their businesses, birth, literary works as an author, so I was, they call them a midwife or whatever. So there, people were saying, well, what is your niche? And to me, I really feel like I have several niches. And so that's why, as a business owner, I've incorporated myself, or I'm an LLC, but I have various services that I offer because to me, I'm effective in all the services that I offer. Do I do them all at one time? By all means, no. I am a publisher, I'm a ghostwriter, I do other things, but I don't do all these things at one time. And that goes back to managing your time. And that goes back to really pinpointing where your gifts and talents are. Some people only have one talent and one gift, and that is fine. But some people have various gifts and talents. So you have to know, when do I have to operate in this gift and talent? When do I need to operate in this gift and talent? When do I need to operate in this gift and talent? And then you have to manage that time effectively. I do a radio show, but do I do my radio show every day? By all means, I do not. I only specifically do it when it is beneficial to the radio station that I'm a part of, and when I have to get content to them, and also when I've been approached by people to say, hey, you know what, I want to be on your show. There's, something information that I have, or, a business that I have, or a ministry that I have that's about kingdom building that I would love to, be on your show. So that's how, you have to understand this is where I focus and this is where I stay. And this is how, I'm not all over the place, as well as my weddings. So people were saying, well, how do you stay so busy during, this pandemic with the wedding season? I advertise like we were talking before. The content that I use is previous weddings that I've done. I post I'm a part of The Knot. I'm a part of Thumbtack. People say, well, is Thumbtack just for weddings? No, it's not. because I'm also on there as a coach as well. But you, again, when you're spending your money to market yourself or your business, set a budget. That is one thing I want you to understand. When you are building content to market yourself and you're looking at these various platforms, and we talked about it, some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for. Set yourself a budget and stick with that budget. Let me say that again. I have a budget and I keep to that budget. And once I am, looks like I'm getting ready to go over that budget, then I have to reevaluate, do I really need to, expand my budget because am I making money? And what I have to do is once I realize, yes, Katrina, you need to expand your budget because you are making money, you're getting hits, you're getting leads. And with these hits and leads, I'm also getting paid. So are you getting paid from these marketing places that you're using that you're paying for? Is it panning out? Because I want to tell you this, I've done Google ads, I've kicked out Yelp, money for Yelp. There's been Page Hub, because they talk you into, oh, I can get you way, somebody Google searches you and I can get you way up there, in the search engine, because that's what SEO is. Those are those search engine, options that they put out there that when I type in your name and when I type in I tell people, if you want to find me, just Google me, just type in Catrina Reese, and then you'll see the things that, where I am and, the different platforms that I'm on. But if you're just looking for maybe a life coach is specific in, as a business coach, and they type you in and they don't see you, that's where these people come around and they say, I can get you up on the search engine where, they Google, certain keywords. And when they search that keyword, you're up there in the top 10 and, so be very careful of that. Make sure, because I've wasted a lot of money doing that, but I'm not going to say I wasted. Let me put it this way. I didn't waste money. I learned from that because I realized this was not the platform that I needed to use. So again, I'm glad I reworded that. I don't feel like I wasted money. I feel like that I learned from that particular experience. So anytime you as a coach do something and it's not working, reevaluate it and see if that's not working for me, then what other ways can I, or what other things do I need to do to focus in this area that's going to make my business profitable. Again, you have to sit down and really manage what you want to do as a coach. Some people say, well, there's so many coaches out there and everybody's coaching, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing that. I need a specific keyword that's going to, set me apart from everybody else. And let me tell you something, there are so many people out there that you can build a successful clientele. And let me tell you the reason why I say this is because just because somebody decides that they want to work with you as a coach and you guys don't click, that's why you set up consultation calls. That's why you set up those one-on-one meetings. I do this before I even send out a contract, before I even waste my time with putting together, information, for a potential client. First of all, I want to find out from them, what do you want? How did you find out about me? Why do you think that I would be a great fit for you? What do you think that I can do for you to help you to be successful in what it is that you need to be successful in. So you have to set up those. I do 15-minute consultations, free consultations, and I do that for every area of my businesses. When I'm looking, when I have a potential bride and groom, they hit me up. I set up a 15-minute consultation. We do it by phone call. We can do it how whatever is convenient for them. For my life coaching business, when somebody comes to me and they say, "Hey, I want you to coach me," I set up a 15-minute consultation to find out what it is that I have that I can do for you that can help you to be successful. I do that in every area, even when I'm interviewing someone for my talk show on Let's Talk Kingdom with Catrina, which this will be rebroadcast on Sensational Sounds Radio. And that's on Mondays, every Monday at 5 p.m. I had to put that plug in there. This is going to be rebroadcast on Sensational Sounds Radio. But so when I'm talking to someone about wanting to be on my talk show, I find out from them, why do you want to be on the talk show? What is it that you have to offer my listeners that will be a blessing and that will benefit them? So again, you always set up a consultation to make sure that, first of all, you guys are a good fit, and whether and also to make sure that they're not wasting their money and they're not wasting their time and you're not wasting your time. So because everybody's not a good fit. So think about that when you are setting up your content for marketing, and set those things up, set up those consultation times so you can make sure that you're a good fit for your potential client. And also have questionnaires, ready, you know, for them. So if they say, and this is what I do, once they tell me that, well, Miss Catrina, these are the goals that I want to set. This is what I want to try to accomplish. Then from there, I have a time management assessment, when I do for time management, and a life coaching assessment sheet that I send to my client after we've had our 15-minute consultation. I let them know that, okay, these are some questions, and I really want you to sit down and I want you to think about the time and the energy that you want to put into this in order to be successful, because the end goal is, I want to make sure that I've given you what you need. So when I'm done with you, you can go out and you can set and hit the ground running, that you've accomplished those goals that you set out to accomplish once we have decided to work together. And then, it's all about being successful and meeting their needs. So again, as a coach, always make sure that you have some type of assessment sheet set up for your client to find out, what do you need me to do, and how do you want me to do it. Get into their head, really and truly, with that piece of paper. Tell them to be honest, with what they're really trying to accomplish. So do they want to put the time and energy into working with me? Because tell them, I'm hard. I'm going to be hard on you because I want you to be successful. I want you to grow. I want you to be a powerhouse in whatever it is that you're trying to do. I want you to write that book. I want you to get that book finished and published. I want you to let go of those old mindset thoughts and begin to put positive thoughts into your mind and into your actions in order for you to, have a successful marriage, or to, be successful on your job, or be successful in your business. So, those are the hard questions that you need to ask your clients. And they have to be willing to put the work in. I tell my clients all the time, you got to be willing to put the work in, because if you're lazy, you're not going to put the work in. But if you're wanting to combat that laziness, then you have to say, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. This is insanity. I've been doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and I want to break this cycle. So that's what you as a coach can do during pandemic. You can coach these people that have been sitting at home for the past almost a year. It'll be a year in March that they've been sitting at home, and they've been having to work from home. They've been having to homeschool their children from home. They've been having all these limitations. They've been looking about, how can I reevaluate my career? It looks like I don't want to do this anymore. I get a lot of people that are now looking at career changes. This, I've realized during this pandemic, then this is not really what I would want to do with my life. So that's what you as a coach need to really help them hone in on, finding their purpose, So that's what I love about, being able to, combat your own fear and being able to focus as a coach and help those that are around you, because somebody's assigned to you. I tell coaches all the time, somebody is assigned to you. But first of all, you need to get yourself in position to where, okay, I need to, tie up my bootstraps. I need to start focusing in and stop being fearful of what can or what can't happen, and just launch out and do it. My pastor did this message the other day, and she was talking about launching out. And oh my God, it just really hit home, because I want to read the scripture that she came from. And she was talking about when the fishermen were launching their nets. And so I want to pull this up, that scripture. And do you know that there are 37 biblical scriptures that talk about the net? But I want to talk about this one. It says, what is the parable of the fishing net? And so it says, this parable can be found in Matthew 13:47-5. And it reads, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a fishing net that was thrown into the water and caught fish of every kind. When the net was full, they dragged it up unto the shore, sat down, and sorted the good fish into crates, but threw the bad ones away. Sometimes when you're out there fishing for new clients, whatever mode of platform you want to use, and you're going to get some good people, and you're going to get some people that are just really just, they're fishing as well. Put it that way. Sometimes people are fishing to make sure you're a good fit. But are there let me say this, are they fishing to see what they can get out of it? A lot of times, and this is what and I'll get back to the fishing part, but one thing that my coach told me, she said that be mindful when people are reaching out to you to ask you for information about your business, or about them starting their own coaching business. Because again, it's, and this is with family, friends, or, somebody that you don't know. Again, be very mindful that you want to give as much information as you can. You want to help someone, like I'm doing today. I'm giving you loads of information that's going to help you, because again, if you want to work with me one-on-one, there's more detailed things that will help you, that I can do, that will help you really, move from point A to point B in order to be a successful coach. So again, but you have to think that people will be fishing for information from you. I've had brides, and I'll use this as an example, and I'll go back to coaching. I've had brides to, shoot me, a message on my website and say, hey, Miss Catrina, what do you charge for your services? Well, again, I wouldn't say that was fishing, but they'll say, so as far as your ceremonies, what type of ceremonies do you offer and what do you put in them? So again, it's all about how they say it. So first of all, I'll say, well, thank you for your inquiry. And I'll just, again, I'll say, well, why don't you shoot me an email and we can set up some time to talk? Because again, be very careful. Don't start giving out nuggets and tidbits until you find out, what their needs are, what their wants are. If they really want to work with you, then they will make the effort to do what you have told them to do. you put yourself out there and you say, okay, well, you give them this or you give them that. And then the next thing you know, you don't hear from them again because you've given them, so much information that they don't need your services. So what I do in order to know that if they're serious about working with me in whatever capacity, first of all, I'll say, well, you know what? If you want to set up some time that we can talk, shoot me an email and I give them my email address. And I say, then we can set up some time to discuss details. And I look forward to hearing back from you. And then if they're serious, then they will reach out to me via email and then we'll set up some time. Like today, I have a 5 o'clock session with a potential bride. So again, what she did was she reached out to me on one of my platforms that I use for advertising and marketing. The content she saw on that particular platform, she was like, okay, well, I might want to use her. So she reached out to me. Well, first of all, she asked me what my prices were. And again, I don't give my prices up front. And you say, well, why not? Well, again, she's fishing. And again, what did it talk about? I want to read this one more time. I love this. So it says, when the net was full, they dragged it up onto the shore, sat down, sorted the good fish into the crate, but threw the bad ones away. So again, what you're doing when somebody's reaching out to you as a potential, you are sorting through the good and sorting through the bad. You have a right to do that. You don't want to waste your time and give all of your resources away to somebody that you know that could possibly pay for your services. Now, let me put this plug in. I do pro bono. There's no doubt about it. I have a lot of people that I mentor. There's a lot of people that I work with, behind the scenes on a lot of things, and I don't charge them. But when there's someone specifically that I know that can afford my services, of course, I'm going to set up some time to say, hey, look, this is what I charge. This is what I can offer you. And this is the results that I know that you'll be able to get by working with me, regardless. So again, so this particular bride that I'm going to be with today, she saw my content. She saw that I'm willing to meet with her via Zoom. She wasn't here locally, so we couldn't meet face to face. And I do have a potential bride next week that I am meeting face to face. We're going to be masked up and we're going to meet one on one because she's local. So again, those are the fear versus the focus things. You put things in place to safeguard you and to safeguard your business. So again, with the fishing, and so that particular person before, was fishing. So again, what I do is I put things in place, like I said earlier, to make sure that I'm not wasting my time and I'm not wasting your time. So email me. Let's set up some time to talk. And that's what they do. Either I'll get an email. That means, you weren't really, you didn't want to work with me. That's fine. But when I do, and I get an email, then they have to follow the protocol because that's how you structure. I've got myself structured. So you have to structure yourself in a way that you're not wasting your time and energy. And then at the end, if you email them and you tell them what you offer, and they decide to say, well, you know what, um, that's too much, or maybe I work with somebody locally, but thank you for your time. And I tell them the same thing. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your inquiry. And then that way, no loss, no foul. You know what I'm saying? So put those things in place to safeguard your time and your energy. One mistake that I made first starting out in this business, and once I got a really serious coach, a business coach that told me, Katrina, you got to stop doing this. What I was doing was, first of all, I wasn't managing my time like I should have. And this was several years back when I first started doing the coaching business. I wasn't managing my time effectively. So what I would do was everybody that was inquiring for my services, I was giving them out all the stuff and, detailed stuff, not just, the surface stuff of what I could do, but I was giving them all this detailed information. And then they weren't calling me back because they were taking what I was giving them, they were using it, and then the need was met. And then I was losing out on money. And these were not friends, these were not family, but these were people that were inquiring about my services, and I was giving away too much information. So, again, you have to set up your business during this time of coaching through COVID that don't let people waste your time. If I say that I'm operating within an hour time frame, and that's a fear for some people, as a coach, what time, how much time should I give this person? Well, value your time. For me, when I'm meeting with a client, I set parameters. If I'm saying we're going to do a 15-minute session, I time myself. And within that 15 minutes, if we're not done, then we have to schedule some other time. Now, when you moved over into the paying time, then based on the services that you're paying for, if it's an hour or 2 hours, then I tell people we're going to start at this time, please don't be late, and we're going to end at this time, because that's not only what you're paying for, but then that's keeping me accountable, for being an effective coach, because you have to start on time and you have to end on time. And a lot of times we're bad about not starting on time. People have issues. Don't get me wrong. You're going to have times when, people may be running late, whatever, but set those boundaries. As a coach, set boundaries. Don't be afraid to set boundaries with your clients, because that not only keeps you focused, but that keeps your client focused as well. Don't allow them to ramble. Keep them on the subject and the task at hand. Because again, we can get to rambling. We can get off on a different tangent. But when someone is paying for your time and your services, you stay focused within that time and within that service. So that was just some of the things that I wanted to share with you about fear versus focus. Because again, coaching during this COVID time is very hard, but people are needing us. I was listening to, and we're coming up on our time. We'll be ending at 4 o'clock, but I was on a webinar with Ona Brown, and Ona Brown is the daughter of Les Brown. And this webinar that she was offering was talking about um, your voice, sharing your story. And a lot of times people don't know your true story. And that's also about coaching. Share with your potential clients your story, your experience, and why you're doing what you're doing, why you're effective in doing what you're doing. And if they need, people that have taken your courses, or taken your services, or paid for your services, or or you've done pro bono work for them, use them as references. Use them as people that they can go back and they can say, well, you know what? I work with Miss Catrina on this project, or I work with her to do this or that. And she was very timely. She was very effective. She helped me to manage my time better. She helped me to focus on making sure that I'm not doing so many different things at one time. She kept me on task. Accountability. That's really what coaches are. They're accountability, partners. We are to be their cheerleaders. We are to keep them, in a positive mode, but we're also to be there to tell them, you need to stop this. This is something that is sabotaging you. And just almost like our children, they're like our children, but don't treat them like children. Treat them like adults, adults that they are. Now, if you're working with children, that's a totally different thing. So again, I wanted to kind of come on, just tell you that, this all has, coaching through COVID has been an Ona Brown, I have to give her props, an Ona Brown initiative, because she talked about, you have to get out there and you have to help other coaches understand that they have their story to tell, show them help them show them what their platforms are, give them the information that they need in order to be successful during this time of COVID. Because again, it's not going to be like this always, you know. Prayerfully, COVID will be leaving us this year. But if it doesn't, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to continue to be successful during this time? Are you going to let fear take over? Or are you going to focus? Focus on those things that are positive, that are true. And I want to close out with this scripture. I love this. I love this scripture right here. Um, I'm all about, people know that I'm a Christian life coach. I don't hide that. That's who I am. But I also work with secular, I work with non-believers. I work with all type of people. As a coach, you know, I want you to know that I am a Christian coach and I do believe in God and I will always profess that while I'm working with you. And if you have a problem with that, then I may not be the perfect fit for you. But this is the scripture that I love, and it's Philippians 4 and 8. And I'm going to read it out of the New International Version, and then we will be ending. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So that's what it's about. During this time of COVID, think about those things. Will you let fear ruin your business or will you focus on having a successful business? Again, this is Catrina Reese with Catrina Reese LLC. I thank you so much for tuning in. I saw so many people coming into the Zoom today, and I thank you for your time, and I love you so much. And again, just know that this is going to be rebroadcast not only on Sensational Sounds Radio, but I will also upload it onto my YouTube page. So if you're not a subscriber, please go to my YouTube page, Catrina Reese LLC. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a fantastic day, and remember, I love you, and God does too.